Oh, hi there, all my little Pokemons. Mewtwo here with you tonight, feeling rather fluffy and a little princessy. You can't see much of the dress because it's, well, under camera level, but I promise, I'm in a pretty dress. But for tonight, we'll have a thoughts video. Tonight we're going to look at another Marvel Cinematic thingadoodle. This time, another one of the Avengers movies specifically. I kind of feel like I covered the actual first Avengers movie when I did my overview there, but we didn't cover any other ones. So, as it's popped up a few times already, tonight's video is on Avengers 2, The Age of Ultron. Any other special bits there? No. Just Avengers, Age of Ultron. It's Avengers 2. And though it is in a red case, no, this is not HD DVD. The war had already been won by Blu-ray long, long ago, and they just decided they're going to make a red case. Okay? Just to make things more confusing. So, this was a ride to say the least. I actually really liked this one. It is one of my favorite ones to put into watching as a background thing. I know a lot of people have hated on it in the past, and I can kind of understand that. But for me, I don't feel that hate. I feel more fun. And that's the important part. Spoiler alert, of course. This would be post the first Avengers movie, but pre-Civil War, and it is post Winter Soldier. So we have lost S.H.I.E.L.D., but we have Avengers, and they're off doing stuff. And in this particular one, they're off trying to find the staff, the Loki staff that was in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s possession, and it got discarded in the fact that part of Hydra had moved it away and had stored it elsewhere. And, well, here we are. Now, we are finding some of this stuff that was missing, and the staff with the Mind Stone is located. Yay! We start with a really great action sequence, so that is good. Starting off a action, adventure, superhero movie with heroes being super and action-y was good. And similar to the final battle on the first Avengers movie, this one, all the kids are here and get to make a good impact on the story, in the combat itself. Everyone gets to have value, everyone gets to get a good punch in or two, everyone makes good effect. This is very important in a team-type movie, because if one team member is the only one that really gets attention, it's not so much a team movie, it's a them movie with a team that just happens to be there. We'll get to a couple of those later. They're actually on my to-do list for things to talk about. Not movies I hate, just, well, times whenever a role set was not followed, where you don't ignore half the actors. We introduced two very cool characters really quick here. We get Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, and Pietro, Quicksilver. They are twins, or at least they're twins in this one. They specifically said they were 12 minutes older. The male Quicksilver was 12 minutes older than Wanda. So they're both working with Hydra, at the beginning anyway, and they try and stop the Avengers and do a pretty good job of slowing them down, if not Effectively, they could have stopped them, but Wanda decided to let them actually take the staff after seeing what was going on in Tony's brain. Huh. Sometimes having a psychic / telekinetic person can be a good change up and could be useful. And in this case, they are not the son and daughter of Magneto, which is what their usual source point is. Magneto being their daddy man. And since this was before Fox was purchased by Disney, they didn't have the X-Men to work with as a option. So we couldn't have Magneto being Daddy Man for Wanda and Pietro. Initial action sequences with them, really fun. I like that they let them be powerful enough to annoy, if not stop, the Avengers effectively, as far as they wanted to. And we got to explore what made that staff what it was, being the fact that it had the Mind Stone in it. And Tony, being the explorative guy he is, decided he wanted to probe it, talk to it, see what it was. And it was a very complex computer thingy. And because it interfaced itself with his hardware, it found the Ultron objective, which was effectively Tony's one of his taglines, "Peace in our time." The concept that he wanted to make a robot set that would help create and maintain peace. A good concept, but always fails in movies. Now, as this started, we did have the Iron Legion, which was a set of robot bodies that Tony had made, Iron Man, that he used to help protect people when the Avengers were doing stuff. The people of the area where they were at were not really too keen on anything with the Avengers or Iron Man. And they threw tomatoes at them and stuff because, well, they didn't like them in general. And basically at this point, the Hydra people were secretly and very covertly using a facility there. Whereas the Avengers were effectively attacking the area, and just the fact that the combat was going on was what was causing the flack in the small city. So, yeah. But we go forward here a bit, back to where we were. The program out of the Mind Stone finds its way into Tony's computer, takes out Jarvis, his AI, and basically roots itself inside of all of the damaged armor sets, the robot-y mans, and uploads himself to some extent onto the internet. Because, well, immortality is very good for robots and artificial intelligence and whatnot. So then we zoop off with as many of those armors as he can, after annoying the Avengers, who are currently celebrating the fact that they took out the Hydra base and got the scepter back. Yay them, but not so much yay them. They still failed. Because he takes it. He takes the staff and goes away. He ends up recruiting Wanda and Pietro to being his assistants. Who end up eventually turncoating from him when they start to find out what he's really trying to do, which is basically kill all the humans. Because to find peace, the robot mind decided, well, peace means nobody's going to fight anymore. How are they not going to fight anymore? They don't have anyone left. And all the other critters, whatever is left after he kills all the humans, is allowed to live. Peace. Yeah, it's not so much peace. It's just destruction. In the process, he ends up creating a body for himself out of vibranium. We have a few more good combat scenes, some involving Ulysses Claw and where his weapons rig is, his weapons sales facility. He's a really cool arms dealer that's kind of like back end all over the place during the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's cool that he has had several hits where he's gotten to be plugged in here. This was a good one for him and his facility, and the fact that Ultron basically bought all his vibranium and left him even richer than he was before. He ends up making a body out of the vibranium and a body regeneration cask thing that one of the scientists that's part of the good guys kind of created, but she's under control of the staff, kind of like they were in Avengers 1. He sticks the Mind Stone in there. He starts to transfer his mind into his new perma body. And that's when Wanda can read him, because now he's effectively more or less flesh and blood. And that's when she learned he was going to kill everybody. And that's when those two turncoated on him and skedaddled. He does end up losing that, and it becomes Vision, which is a really cool good guy. A very fun good guy who gets Jarvis's AI stuck in his head. So Jarvis, who was originally Tony Stark's butler code, has now got a body, and I gotta say, he looks pretty good. There's a lot of finagling in here and out that I'm skipping over. I'm not going to go into every fiddly bit of details. Please, watch the movie. Have fun. It's way more entertaining than I make it out to be. It's like a 2-hour film, and I'm summing it up in like 20 minutes, so, you know, get a deal. I liked the way we introduced the Vision, Ultron getting pissed about it, who then made himself yet another basic robot body, but this time with vibranium as his lead unit. And he still has dozens of subunits where he's still in control. They're still him. And he tries to drop most of a city with a vibranium core down to Earth to effectively cause a extinction level event that would kill all humans. Thanks to some smartness between Tony and some of their capabilities, including Thor, they're able to stop that from blowing everybody up. They save everybody's lives off there, but they do end up having to have that city destroyed. Because it's already airborne, it's already effectively a giant missile. All they're trying to do is make that missile less deadly to everyone. But they get everybody off thanks to a salvaged helicarrier from Avengers 1. And even War Machine gets to come and have a little play. He comes and helps. Yay, go. Go, Rhodey. Thanks for coming in, at least for the last part. And, yeah. All the battles, especially the final battles on the floating city, were really good. We had a lot of interesting, fun action with all the different Avengers, including Wanda and Pietro, who joined them for that battle. Sadly, Quicksilver Pietro does get killed, saving a small child and Hawkeye. And that sucks for a lot of reasons. But it still ends up being a really good finish. We end up having a lot of good reactions with everybody. My only major flaw with their system, they say they cut Ultron off the internet as their attacking Vision gets into his head and knocks him out of it. My problem is, if he's a smart enough AI, he would have had a backup of himself somewhere else on the net. There's enough data storage, even back then, he could have been stored somewhere. He would have had a copy of himself out floating around in the cloud, or at least enough of himself he could recreate himself in another body, and or have another body somewhere else. You don't have to have all of you here, especially when you're as broad spread as a character that can basically ignore the fact that this body is about to be destroyed and just be in the next one already. And since it is a robot, it doesn't have so much of an ego that it must be the one that succeeds. It knows that it is still succeeding. This body physically failed, but he's still in the next one. And most of the time, 100% communicating between the two, so effectively, not only did he never lose control, no body of his actually ever loses, just this effectively scrap is now in front of him and is now destroyed. I loved how Ultron was portrayed. I felt he was a very fun villain. And he did a good job of taking on the Avengers. This is one of the few movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, once they started introducing the Infinity Stones, we didn't add any new ones. But we definitely made use of one of them. We made Vision into one of the stones. And yes, Vision at this point now has the Mind Stone in his forehead, and it's much of what makes him himself. And yeah, it's a really good movie. I never felt like I was lost in the physical locations. We did actually reuse places, not necessarily like scenes, but we did go back to the same city where they had started from, and that's the one they ended up taking up in the sky. So we got to be comfortable with areas. Things made sense. It was easier to keep track of where you were at any given time. And anytime we went to a different location, it had enough purpose that you didn't feel like you were just traveling for traveling's sake. But yeah, all the characters were great. All of the stuff going on was fun. And it introduced a couple of new elements to the system, including the Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda, who has recently had a new series all of her own, along with a reborn Vision, and that was pretty cool. I'll talk about that later. This is where she came into the game, and yeah, I think all the characters were played very well. I think everyone did the way they should have done character-wise, especially, in this case, I do say Tony Stark did act the way you would expect him to. He was trying to create peace, but he doesn't always get all the numbers right. Peace doesn't necessarily mean everything's actually at peace. It's hard to accept peace as in freedom, because too much freedom equals chance of chaos, and therefore not peace. Yeah, it's a cool way to look at it, and I think it was fun. And Ultron being a cool look at his psyche, as in he invented that as his thought process, made it a little more interesting. Well, that's my thoughts for today. Did you watch this movie? Did you enjoy it or hate it? By all means, let me know either way. I don't mind. I'm not butthurt if you didn't like a movie I liked. I'd like to hear what you didn't like if you didn't like it. Comment box. Do your thing. You know what it's there for. Typey. But for now, definitely, thank you for spending some time with me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. The little dingly bell for the little dingly bell, let you know when I post new videos. Who knows? Could be Mewtwo. He's fun to be. He's a hoot. And my Patreon link is in the description box below, as is my Ko-fi link. It's also in said description box below. Both of which are good ways to donate to the channel if you're so inclined. But the most important thing is spending some time watching these videos. I really appreciate every view I get. They're also wonderful for taking time to, listen to me babble. That's a very important part of my day. Knowing that somebody actually listened to me talk for a while. But for now, this little Pokemon's gonna wander off and do stuff, so thank you for spending time with me. I look forward to seeing you all again, and stay fluffy, kids. Stay Pokemon. Alright, bye-bye.